Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the Sunny Coast very own podcast called the Referral Wave. My name's Tony Cross, and by day I've got a business called Drive Connect, which is a buyer's advocate business for cars. But today I'm joined by Sanja from the Talent Academy, and we're going to talk all things obviously about her business, but we're also going to talk about the conference again in our series of interviewing all the speakers and the sponsors. Now, welcome along.
Thank you
Now
so
you
much for
were a
your time.
speaker as yeah, sorry, but so you took the stage at the conference. So how exciting was that?
Yeah, that was great. Very exciting. And it was so nice to see so many people from different parts of Australia coming together and just meeting someone going, Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you? It's just a beautiful network to see in one room.
Yeah, great. And had you talked on? Well, I think I know the answer to this question given your background when you talk. But you've obviously been on stage and talked to people like that before, obviously.
Yes, yes. As a public speaking coach, being on stage is somewhat natural to me. Very much a trained skill though, but it is something I'm comfortable with. And so whether it be a small boardroom of 10 or a large conference of 2,000, it's something I'm accustomed with.
Yeah, it was great. You did a really good job.
Thanks.
Now tell us about your business, right? So we know that you're good on stage. Like, so how does that? Tell us all about it.
Sure. So, Talent Academy as public speaking trainers, founded 14 years ago, and it actually came out of my lived experience as a musical theatre performer. I lived on stage, I was used to the stage, but most people aren't. And especially if they're corporate professionals, they're technical experts who don't necessarily know how to communicate it. So, I used my lived experience in stage confidence to start delivering some learning that would help people for life. And it grew and it grew. So now we're a team of 11 facilitators across South Australia and New South Wales. And we have launched in China as well. So now we're global, which is very exciting to see that communication can reach anyone.
That's fantastic. So, how long have you been in BNI, and what led you to join BNI?
Sure. So it's been 10 years of our 14 in business, 10
Yeah.
years as a member now. And it actually started because my father was a member in his business and he got
Uh,
me to sub for him once. And so I subbed in for him and saw how it all worked as a sub. I thought, what an interesting concept that these people meet all the time, right? Because I mean, you go to networking events all the time, various council ones or whatever. And so I've been to networking events before, but it was the first time that I saw that regular contact and accountability in that way. And so it was interesting. After subbing for dad maybe once or twice, I decided to join for my business too.
Now, and have you expanded? Obviously, you've expanded your business in that time because you started by yourself, now you're 11. But have you branched out into other facets in your business, or just kept to that core, like the core public speaking thing? Tell us a little bit about
Well, funny you should ask that. There have been so many things that we have been able to do for our BNI members that I didn't realize was a business opportunity. So, when you're heightened awareness to just seeing what your network and your world can do to solve problems for other people, then just business opportunities come from it. So, as a result, yes, I am a BNI member still as a public speaking coach, but because I saw opportunity and need in certain areas, we've been able to establish a new business that my parents are registered as directors in the import and export business. So that's just something that came out of BNI requests every now and then because I had just launched in China and I had these connections from China that were really fruitful. And a BNI member once asked me, "Oh, do you reckon you could import this for me?" I went, "Hang on a second, there might be something in this." So we registered a company.
that. How fantastic is that? Talk us through the public speaking coach a little bit, right? So, in my head, I think I've only got to come to you if I'm going to start talking in front of 300 people. But obviously, that's not the case. Just talk, it can be for anyone, right? So, talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So public speaking, usually people think big keynote, large stage,
Yeah.
but communication impacts everyone. In fact, I mean, even if we think relationally, communication is the number one breakdown of relationships, even. So it's an important thing that is for personal and business use. Now, communication, unfortunately, is never actually formally taught. We go through school and there's a lot of STEM focus in our high school years. You spit out a kid at the end of school and they can't do a job interview, and then they'll go into university, study engineering. And again, there's a lot of technical focus, But by the time they graduate, they go into a boardroom and they still can't talk. And so we've never formally trained for the skill that I think is a foundational life skill rather than a soft skill. So whether you're a receptionist answering the phone and having to communicate, we've done stuff even in call centers with insurance companies having difficult claims and having to deny people, and that's a difficult thing to say.
Yeah.
Or people who just need social confidence, people who are standing up in a boardroom of 5 people, or just those one-on-one conversations that are high stakes. Sometimes a C-suite executive will have to meet with someone and have a difficult conversation. And still,
Yeah.
it's a communication skill set that can be developed. So, from large audience of 2,000 right through to a one-on-one, communication impacts literally everyone on earth. And it's about time we started training for it.
Yeah, so I mean, you see it a lot in BNI when new members join and they're very shy about public speaking, and you see over time, over the 6, 12 months, they blossom and they're confident, and it makes them better salespeople for their own business as well, doesn't it? So I mean, you could use your services if you just wanted to polish your own performance in your own business, right through to if you had to talk to 20 staff. I never thought of it that way either. You mentioned about the difficult conversations. No, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it actually has. It has been requested sometimes. Someone who's, yeah, not too scared of getting up and talking at BNI, no problem, but they're dreading that phone call that they have to make to someone to have
Yeah.
a tough conversation to say, you've messed up on this, or whatever it might be. If they're avoiding that phone call, avoiding that email, or not having that meeting because they're dreading it, it's usually going to lead to a bad outcome. So sometimes even just a tough conversation is still a communication skill worth training for. And we genuinely believe that a great idea must not fail for a lack of communication. So the
Mm.
reality is the cure to cancer, the next brilliant technology that can do incredible things for us, space exploration, or even the simplest food hack that we need in our life, it's in a lab behind a lab coat from someone who's going to speak in acronyms. And so
Yeah.
it's those kind of things, the ideas that can genuinely change the world are the ones that I'd love to help just get out of a lab coat and onto a stage, just communicated to the everyday person.
Geez, you got a lot of work cut out for you there.
Oh, yeah, we work with some absolute geniuses. Like, the disgustingly brilliant people, absolute geniuses. But when they go to speak, they're like, I'm a PhD student. Like, but that doesn't sound very convincing. Let's actually speak well, you know? You're going to get trust, you're going to get your research funded. But yeah, it matters to everyone, right through to kids. We do a lot of work with young people as well, because in this digitally driven age, we're seeing that young people are less and less likely to communicate even eye to eye with other human beings. So much so, in fact, there was a social experiment done in the US where they sent a kid out for a job interview. Day one, he met with a human. Day two, they sent him somewhere else and he met with like a holographic image of Megatron. And he got that job because he looked a cartoon in the eye, but not the human.
Yeah, how's that? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a
well,
skill I
I mean,
think we
and
need to train for. Definitely, everyone needs to train for it.
it's a lost skill. I had a one-to-one with one of our members on the coast here the other day, and in a past life, he was a general manager, a CEO of a big insurance company based here on the Sunny Coast. Anyway, he said he'd been there for 20 years, and he said it was quite interesting to watch the evolve of the lunchroom where people would come in and chat about the weekend or what they were doing, this weekend coming, to then by the time he left, the lunchroom was dead. It was always a noisy, congested place, but by the time he left, it was just this quiet, cold place with no one talking to each other, everyone just in their phones.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be one of those things. I mean, the writing's on the wall. We see it in technology and movies, and movies have been predicting this for years, but we're actually there already. And so there's something about the value of human to human connection. We don't always do it right, but we could do it better. And again, we never train for it. So it's just a life skill worth developing.
And Frederick's going to be proud of me at this moment. And that's why we need BNI, isn't it? Human to
Oh, you know
human
what?
connection.
What I'm proudest of is when I see members come up for their renewal chat and they come up at the end of the meeting and the president says, why are you renewing? And they almost always, the amount of people I have seen say, oh, this just honed my presentation skills. I joined so that I could develop the skill of presenting more often. I'm better at public speaking now. They say that so often that it's lonely in business, especially if you're a sole trader. It's
Yeah.
really lonely and isolating. So, sure, you're building a good community, but you're also stress testing your ability to develop the skill week on week on week. And what a great platform for professional development. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. Talking about professional development, let's get onto the conference for a little bit. You were a speaker, fantastic, loved it. And you're also a sponsor. I've still got my phone holders here right on my desk
Oh,
looking at
good.
me. Um, Great idea. Of all the giveaways at conferences I've seen, that was perfect. Little phone holder. Um, so let's talk about the conference and the personal development. Now, a lot of people I talk to go, oh, what's it like? Is it about BNI? And I always say to them, yes, there's a BNI element to it, only for one session by Phil, normally, and that's just about how to do BNI better. But the rest of it is all personal development. The whole thing is put on for you to walk away with some gold, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
So would you like to
absolutely.
start that?
From what I witnessed as an attendee sitting in the room was that watching these sessions, there was just so much learning. An example would be I feel sorry for the last speaker of events. We call them the graveyard shift, but I have
Yeah.
so much respect for her. The girl who came up and talked about finance right at the end, I was taking notes. Like, this is stuff that I can go and actually implement in business. She was talking about evaluating a business for an exit. Such practical and applicable stuff. Not one piece of that was specifically about your referral requests or building your value for BNI members. It was all
No.
about you as the business owner. And I absolutely love how practical and applicable that could have been for anyone who would actually action it. And that was just back to back to back. The marketing girl, the finance girl, the guy who did the wonderful stuff and challenged me on thinking about service value. It was brilliant. And from none of the speakers that I witnessed, I didn't hear it referenced about BNI at all. It was actually just about the business owner and how the business owner can grow. It was brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was. How did you go at your sponsors table? Like every time I walk past, you seem to have a lineup of people, they're talking to you. From a sponsor point of view, was engaging? You got a lot out of it.
Yeah, you had to be conscious of not just doing the standard expo table like every other standard expo table. So
Yeah,
I wanted to catch attention and catch eyes. So I got out a big red carpet in a circle that looked like a TEDx dot, and I had a camera. And so people
yeah,
thought, oh, I can do a TED talk. And they came up there and they did their referral requests and stuff. And it was a lot of fun, and having really great giveaways on the table. But I had to think about doing an expo a little bit differently because a standard table flyer and a conversation is, yeah, rarely going to engage people well. But the ones that stand out and do something differently, they're the ones that get really good conversation and conversion out of that. So I'm really glad that I decided to catch attention with my setup. But it was so worth it. The foot traffic that comes through during the breaks. I mean, I saw people going from station to station. They really wanted to engage. That was great.
yeah. I think every time I got Wendy rounded me up to get me out of there back into the room. Like there was almost like there wasn't enough time to talk to people and to go around all the stands. Like there was Space Invader machines, bomb diffusers, Jenga.
Yep.
Your TED talk thing there. So
Yep.
the exhibitors did a really good job of this year, really engaging everyone. Um, your experience in BNI, 10 years, that's a
Mhm.
long time in BNI. How many conferences have you been to?
So I've done state ones mainly. This is my
Yep.
first national though. This is my first
Right.
national one over that time, and I found that a lot of the time at the state level, that you were starting to see people. You see them all the time when you're subbing for someone
Yep.
at another chapter or something. They started becoming really familiar faces. Every time you're at the awards in your state, it's the same people, and so,
Yep.
oh, especially South Australia being a smaller state, and so I found that there was a certain amount of value. Early days, it was incredible, but a certain amount of value. I started knowing everyone too much.
Yep.
And so I thought I've got to go beyond my local boundary and went out to national. And national's been brilliant for that reason. I walked in the room like, I don't know anyone. This is fabulous. I have such networks to build. So yeah, first time going national, and I'm really glad I did. So now that I've experienced it, I will definitely go national again.
Yeah, great. All right. I always ask people that are on a podcast a few different questions. One of them is what's next for your business?
Yeah, so next for us is scaling. We've done some incredible work around building a speech analytic tool. We've had a PhD student do her thesis on our theories with a clinical trial. So now we actually have research to publish in a journal. We'll be the only ones backed by science, which is exciting. We've built an actual asset, a card game to build communication skills. All of these things combined now means we're primed to scale. And so we're likely going to be able to go global through licensing. And that's the biggest strategy move I've got to make now is finding ways to go into the UK, the US, or anywhere else around the world. And the logical entry point is going to be the BNI network.
Yeah. Well, it's there at your fingertips, isn't it?
Absolutely. The warmth that can come from that, it's just so easy to open conversations when I'm just tapping in through BNI networks. And you
Yeah.
rather than just going cold using Connect, I'll go through regional director to regional director because that way the regional directors will just go, here's all the people that make sense for you, and they'll make the connections. It's brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. What's the one core value of BNI that really resonates with you?
The one thing that's made the most difference to us is Givers Gain. And it's important to give first. In my couple of years, I think it might have been the first 6 months at least, we turned over zero. And a lot of times when I see, like the ROI rather, when I see a lot of people bounce in and out of BNI memberships, is because they expect ROI on day one. But
Yeah.
it's just about relationships, about giving first and building that trust. And so I was giving into the room and giving referrals first before I expected anything in return. It wasn't until sort of 6 months later I started seeing some stuff come in. And then our significant wins, Adelaide University and Santos, they came through in year 2, 3. So that's how we really saw our return on investment was when the relationship and the roots ran deep. So yeah, I've seen people bounce in and out because of their expectation of instant gratification, but givers gain is the best principle. Give first, build that foundation, and that's when all the rest comes back to you.
Yeah. No, well said. All right. Now, in wrapping up, I want you to just give some words of wisdom or some encouragement to the listeners on the sunny coast about coming along to Melbourne next year.
Sure.
They
So
come.
coming along to Melbourne. So coming along to a state conference like this, national. Coming along to a national conference like this, it's different to anything you might have done. Going beyond your boundaries itself, even if your service is state-based, even if you're a plumber and you work locally, it's so incredible to see how vast these networks are in your region. I've been having introductions to people in Adelaide from people in Sydney. It's
Yes.
fantastic. It's been fantastic. It's opened networks that my locals didn't have. So
Mm.
that's why going to national has just been incredible for everyone, but especially for anyone who has a service or a product that can go beyond your state. Going national is the warmest way to build those opportunities and those networks to scale. It's a no-brainer. It's worth doing. It's not like going to MSP. It's not like going to any of those other learnings. It's specifically about you and your business. You'll come away with learnings, actionables, and things you can implement straight away to see return on investment.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd challenge even the smallest state-based business to go because they're still going to get personal development stuff out of it, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Regardless.
absolutely. The
No.
most it's interesting of all the speakers, the one that I walked away with the most notes was the one about evaluating your business for exit. I mean, I wasn't
Yes.
nowhere near an exit yet, but it was just like the stuff that you need to be doing now in preparation for much later was such valuable insight. And it's nothing to do with BNI. It was specifically to do with me as the business owner. And sure, I could have gone to a financial advisor and paid money for the advice one-on-one, but I ended up going to a conference where I got 8 speakers, all on different subject matter, all on different learnings. It was so valuable to get all those insights in one day. It was brilliant.
Yeah, no, fantastic. All right, how can we find out a bit about more about your business, websites, all that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Talentacademy.com.au. Everything's there and we'd love to connect. There's lots to do for specifically for BNI referrals. So anyone who's getting up on stage in their room, in getting up in BNI, doing your referral request or your feature, we actually have a specific offer for you using our speech analyzer tool. So feel free to reach out to us, talentacademy.com.au, and I'll throw in the conversation cards as well.
Oh, geez, there's a bonus. All right, and come along to Melbourne and see if you can win one of the card games.
Yes, absolutely. Come
You're gonna
along
have
to
to come up with
Melbourne.
something.
Be open-minded to build networks broadly. Give first. Give first, even if it's something as small as a compliment and encouragement. Give first, and you'll see return.
Great. Well, thanks for being on. I love watching you on stage. I loved our chat in the hall, and it's been great to have you on. And can't wait to catch up again next time we see you in
Yeah.
Melbourne. So thanks very much.